This is the knuckle joint. This one is known as fork double eye end, because it is having the two circular holes here. And now this one is a rod end. This is known as rod end. This one is having the only single eye. In this manner it is inserted. Now this is known as a knuckle pin. This one is known as knuckle collar. Here two holes are created in this collar. These two holes are matched with the knuckle pin, and then the another knuckle pin is inserted. So this is the assemble of the knuckle joint. Okay. Now see here. So knuckle joint. If you observe here in the fourth unit, the first topic, design of joints, we are discussing in this. In that, this is the last topic, knuckle joint. Actually, I forgot it on that day. Now here, this type of joint is used to connect the two angular misalignment shafts. It means whenever there is a misalignment, means suppose if you see this is the collinear shaft, means both axes collinear here. Some situations the axes are, means this is the one axis of the one rod, another axis of the rod passing like this. So it is subject to somewhat theta. So in such situations, whenever we require the joints, this joint is going to preferred knuckle joint. Okay. So before starting this one, the terminology is very important as we discussed in the earlier cases. This one is known as single eye rod, otherwise rod end. Single eye rod, why we are calling, because it is, if you see this diagram here, one single circular shape is appearing, and to that circular shape hole is creating. Okay, so for that the name is given as single eye or rod end. Okay, now for this rod, double eye, otherwise fork end. See here, double end eye or fork end. So double eye, why it is calling, because on this rod two circular holes are created on these circular shapes. Okay, and now this one is a knuckle pin. This one is known as a knuckle pin, and this one is a knuckle collar, and this is the taper. So first this one is going to insert it, just now you have seen in the video. Then after inserting this one, the pin is inserted. Then on that pin, after inserting the pin, the collar inserted on that, and then finally this cotter is going to inserted through this hole. Okay, Babu. Now we are going to designing here its dimensions. Then what we are doing, whether it is safe or not, we are checking. Same procedure what we did in the previous cases, same procedure adapted here. Okay, now one by one we are going to solve. Now before starting this one, terminology. Capital P represents the applied load, maybe tension or compression, and D is the diameter of the this rod. Here it is indicated diameter of the rod, and D1 is the diameter of the pin. D1 is the diameter of the pin. So this one, D1, and D2 is the outer diameter of the eye. D2 is the outer diameter of the eye, means this one, D2. And D3 is the diameter of the knuckle pin head. D3 is the diameter of the knuckle pin head, and T is the thickness of the single rod. This is the one, thickness, thickness of the single rod, and T2 is the thickness of the pin head. T2 is the thickness of the pin head, and T1 is the thickness of the double eye rod. Okay, and this length is given. The extension diameter of the this rod is a 1.1 D. The extension of the fork rod is 1.2 D, and the radius of this one, the fork end, is zero point 0.6 into D, and the length from the here to here is given as zero point 0.8 into D. Okay, so these are all things you have to remember, Babu. And the length of the fork end is 4.5 D. It is here, and length of the single eye rod is 4D. So this all dimensions we need to calculate. So to calculate these dimensions, we have to check whether in which mode of failure it is going to subjected. Okay. So the first one, first we have to check in this failure is going to in which criteria the failure is going to happen. In that through that criteria, we are going to calculate in the dimensions. Now the first criteria is failure of the solid rod in tension. Rod in tension. The first criteria is the in tension. The rod is going to failure in tension. So this rod is going to happens in the tension because the load is applying here, tensile load. So because of that reason, the failure is happens here or maybe here. Okay. So the respective stress is tensile stress, load by area. So with this equation, we can write as a PT equal tensile stress into failure area in tension. So because this is a circular rod, solid rod, so the area may be pi by 4 into d square. With this equation, d is determined in mm. If it is numerical, here you have to write the d value. Okay, ma'am? Now this is the first failure. Now the second failure is failure of the knuckle pin in shear. pin in shear. Okay, so why shear failure is happening on the knuckle pin? Just see here. I will show you the animation video. Now see here. Now because of the application here, tensile load, here tensile load is applying. Okay, but actually we are applying here tensile load, but what happened, this tensile load is distributed on the pin. This is the pin we are designing now. Okay, so the tensile load is distributed on this pin in tangential manner. So it means this tensile load, in this manner it is going to pulling. Okay, now this one is in this manner it is pulling outside. So if the pin is not strength more than strength than this fork and singly material, then the key is going to failure in shear. Means the top portion of the this portion of the pin is going to stay in the this fork end, and the lower portion of the pin is going to stay in the lower end, and the middle portion is going to remains in the middle key end. Okay, so how it is look like, I'm drawing here. So here the shear failure you can find here at the bottom, we can find the shear failure. Here at the bottom we can find the shear failure. Here one top failure. Okay, so in this manner means this portion is carried out along this end, and this one is going to carry it out outside along this end, and this lower portion is carried out along with this one. If the pin is not more stronger than the these rods. Okay, so that failure I'm drawing on the screen here. So that one I'm drawing here. So these diagrams you need to draw in examinations, Babu. Okay, you have to show where it is failure is happening and how it is going to fail. That is also you have to show. Okay, the title itself indicating failure of knuckle pin in shear. So that reason I drawn the shear failure figure. Okay, now the respective stress is shear stress because the title indicating here shear failure. So shear stress equal shear load by shear failure area. This equation may be written as PS equals sigma S into shear area in failure. What is the area here? So this one is known as diameter of the pin, diameter of the pin as D1. Okay. So what is the equation for this solid? This is looking as a solid circle. So the equation means pi by 4 into D1 square. Now the shear, this type of failure we are able to see in the two sides of the pin, means these two failures, this one combines one, and this surface combines one. Total two failures we are able to see here. So that reason I am multiplying with 2, that is the shear area. So the equation becomes as PS equals sigma S into 2 into pi by 4 into D1 square. So with this equation, D1 is determined in mm. Okay. Now this shear failure is considered designed on the basis of one assumption, that is there is no clearance. Means in this diagram, if you observe, there is no clearance between this pin and the rods. Based on this assumption, the D1 value is calculated, but in actual practice there is a some clearance is there. Okay. So because of that clearance, there is a looseness in the joint. Because of that reason, the key is going, this pin is going to subject to bending. So that one is how it is appears low. I'm drawing, see here. Okay. This is the axis of the pin. So this diameter is D1, and this diameter is D3. Okay. Now because it is subjecting this pin, this portion, entire portion is going to inserted in the three eyes. What are where is these three eyes? See here. This is the first eye. This is the second eye. This is the third eye. The bottom portion means the shanku portion of the pin is going to located in these three portions. So it means I'm drawing here. Now see here where the surface here in this manner the load is applying in tensile manner. So the load, because of application of load, this is the top portion of the pin is going to pull in this direction, the bottom portion of the pin is going to pull in this direction, the middle portion of the pin is going to pull in this manner. So where the pin is contact with the eye, particular at that section, I am drawing the figure. So here the intensity of the stress is very low. In this manner the stress is going to generated. Here also same manner. It means the load is generated on the this end, one end of the pin is UVL. At this end also the load is generating UVL. Here the surface of the pin is covered with the total I. So that reason the load is generated in this manner. So what type of load this one? This one is the UDL. So here the contact of the pin going to end with this iron. The contact of the pin end is going to end with this iron. But here this is ending with the continuously. So that reason the one end of the pin, the other end of the pin is going to subjected to uniformly varying load. The middle end of the pin is subjected to the uniformly distributed load. So that separate figure I'm drawing here, just see. Suppose this is the neutral axis of the joint. Okay. Now how much intensity of the load here? The intensity of the load is actual total load is applying here P, and this is the P. Okay. Now this load is distributed here P by 2, here P by 2, here P by 2, here P by 2. Are babus. Here P by 2. Okay. Now what is the this length? What is the this length? This length is known as fork I end T1, thickness of the fork I end. This one is the thickness of the fork I end T1. Okay. Now what is the this distance? This distance is thickness of the rod end T. Now what is the point load? This is the uniformly load distributed. Uniformly varying load we are converting here as a point load. How much intensity? The intensity is P by 2 into T1 by 3. Okay. Now this UDL load P by 2 into T by 2. Okay. Now we are designing here D1. Okay, Babu. Why? Because in previous case, the quarter knuckle pin is going to failure in shear. If we design the previous case, if it is perfect in shear, so it is going to subject to bending. So at this manner, in this at this situation, the stress is generating, that is respective stress is bending stress equal M by Z. Z is a section modulus, M is a maximum bending moment. So that maximum bending moment we are calculating now. So what is the maximum bending moment at the neutral axis? That is P by 2, that is P by 2 into T1 by 3, means from this point load to this distance. So here to here we know, but here to here how much, that is plus T by 2. Okay. Now from this we are subtracting the this intensity, because it is acting in the reverse manner. It is actually acting in this reverse manner, means both are acting in a reverse manner. So that reason subtracting P by 2 into T by 4. Okay. So this is the maximum bending moment. Substitute this value here, and section modulus pi by 32 into d power cube. Now if you substitute, bending stress sigma b equal P by 2 into T1 by 3 plus T by 2 minus P by 2 into T by 4 by pi by 32 into D1 cube. So with this equation, we are going to calculating the D1. Okay, Babu? So this is the second failure. The first failure is failure of the rod in tension. The second one is a failure of knuckle pin in shear. If it is shear is not happening, maybe it is subjected to bending. That is this one. So in the second equation, D1 we are calculating. Here we calculated D1. Here also we calculated D1. Now the third failure is failure of single rod or rod end in tension. Now, just see here in this animation video. So this rod is subjected to load here P. Okay. So how it is appears, if it is fail in a tension, means single I rod is going to failure in tension. So at this time, the chances of failure is going to happens here. The failure area I'm drawing is here. Are you getting my concept of this is the failure area of the this fork end? Sorry, single I rod. So that one I'm separately drawing here. Just see. So in this manner it is going to fail. The half portion will be appears here. So it will come outside due to applied load, due to applied load. Okay. The failure area I'm drawing here. This one is the failure area. Now the inside diameter is pin diameter, that is D1. The outside diameter is D2, means single eye rod diameter, that is D2. Okay. Now because the failure is happening in a tension, so that reason the respective stress is tensile stress by tensile load by tensile failure area. So this one we can write as a sigma t into at. Now what is the area? This area we need to take into consideration. Only whatever the hash lines are drawn, that area only we need to consider. So the thickness of this eye rod is t. Now what is the area of this rectangle portions? Whatever the hash lines are drawn, only this hash lines area only we need to consider. So what is the area of this hash lines? These d2 minus d1, d2 minus d1. If you subtract this thickness, separate this thickness are going to generate. Okay. And if you multiply with this product with the t, then it means t here and here also t. So two rectangles are going to generated if we subtract d2 minus d1. For the two rectangles, common thickness is t. So the reason I'm multiplying with the t. So that is the failure area. So the PET equal sigma t into d2 minus d1 into t. Okay. So with this, sigma t is going to calculated. Not calculated, it is going to checked. Okay. That one I'm writing here. So I think no need of writing. Everything is completed here. So here sigma t is going to verified. This is known as a induced stress. This induced stress is always less than the permissible value that is given in the question. If it is not less than the permissible value, then again we have to what we have to do, we have to take the d2 value, we have to recheck the d2 value, means select another d2 value, substitute here, get the this value, again check with the permissible value. Okay. So this is the third failure. The fourth failure is the fourth failure, failure of single eye, failure of single eye or rod end in shear. So that one I'm showing here how it is appears. So shear means same failure areas we have to consider, but the thing is the respective shear stress equal shear load by shear failure area. So this equation become as PS equal sigma S into AS. So what is the area here? Here also same area we have to take, that is D2 minus D1 into T. This is the only, it is good if it is failures in a shear. Okay, if it is going to failure in a shear, same area is going to generated. Okay. So if you substitute here, the PS value will come as sigma s into d2 minus d1 into t, that is PS. So with this equation we are going to checking with the sigma s. Now next is, now fifth one is failure of the rod end, rod end in crushing. So how it is appears if it is fail in a crushing. Now see here, if it is subjected to crushing, it means, so in this particular region it is going to subject into crushing. This hashed portion only we have to consider, not this one. Okay. This hashed portion we have to consider this one. Now respective stress is sigma c equal crushing stress, because the title is written as the single air rod is going to subject it to crushing. So the reason crushing stress is equal crushing load by AC. This one may be written as PC equal sigma C into AC. Now what is the AC here? The crush area. So this crush area we have to take into consideration. Now what is that area here? The area is this one, Babu. This area D1 into thickness. D1 into thickness. So the equation become as PC equal sigma C into D1 into T. With this equation, sigma C is going to verified. Sigma C is going to verified. This is the induced stress. Stress should be less than permissible stress. Stress. If it is in some cases, our induced stress is getting exceeding with the permissible value, then we have to check the T value and resubmit again here and get the induced stress value, then check with the permissible value. Okay, then check with the permissible value. Means in all situations the induced stresses are less than the permissible stress, then only our design is safe. So this is the fifth one. Now sixth one is, failure of fork end in tension. So how it is appears, just see in the animation video. Now this rod is going to fail in tension because the application of load here PT, another load is applying on the another end PT. So because of that reason, here at this section the failure is going to happen. This is the failure areas I'm drawing. Okay. Now this is the thickness. This is the thickness of the fork end. How much this one? T1. And this is the inside diameter of the fork end. Nothing but pin diameter D1. And this one is the outside diameter of the eye rod. How much this one? D2. Okay. Now because it is failure is happening in a tension, the respective stress is sigma T equal PT by AT. So why I am taking the tensile stress, because the title itself indicating here the rod is failure is happening in a tension. So that reason I am taking the sigma T. So with this equation, PT is sigma T into AT. What is AT here? Failure area under tension. So that failure area under tension I'm drawing here. So see here the area here. If you this area means only whatever the hashed portions are drawn, that area only we need to consider, not entire thing. So if we subtract the d2 from d1 from the d2, d2 minus d1, so we will get the width of the rectangles. We will get the width of the rectangles. Okay. Then what is the thickness? This one, the thickness is t1. So such type of rectangle, another pair is going to generated here. Okay. See here one pair, here one pair. So two on two separate pairs. So that reason the area I'm taking here multiply with 2. Okay. Write that this equation here, pt equal sigma t into 2 into d2 minus d1 into t1. With this equation, sigma t is going to verified. The sigma t is a induced stress always should be less than permissible stress. If it is exceeding some cases, our induced stress, our calculated value exceeding this permissible stress, then d2 value we have to check, again resubmit here, and again get the induced stress value, check with the permissible value, then get the safe design value. Okay. So this is the sixth point. Now the seventh point is failure of forked end in shearing. So failure of forked end in shearing, same failure area we need to consider, same failure areas we need to consider. But the thing is, instead of writing sigma t, the equation going to change is sigma s, because the title indicating here shear. So that reason respective stress is shear stress is equal shear load by shear area. Okay. The equation may be changes as ps equal sigma s into as. Now what is as here? This one is the as. So it means ps equal sigma s into 2 into d2 minus d1 into t1. With this equation, sigma s is going to verified, that is induced stress less than the permissible stress. Okay. Now eighth one is failure of forked end and in crushing. So same procedure over here also. So crushing means the crush area is going to generated here. I'm drawing the crushing area with a hashed lens inside surface of the this hole, inside surface of this hole, inner side of this hashed lens are inside of the hole, babu, don't get confused. So the crush area is d1 into t2, sir, t1. This is the diameter of the inside diameter of the fork end is d1, thickness of the this hole is t1. So the crush area is sigma t, crushing stress equal pc by ac. Now what is pc here? Sigma c into ac. So what is the ac here? The crushed area d1 into t1, d1 into t1. So this type of failure is happening in both side, here and here. So that reason multiply with 2. Now the pc equal sigma c into 2 into d1 into t1. So with this equation, the induced stress pc is going to verified. Induced stress less than, oh, induced less than permissible stress. Okay, if our induced stress is exceeding the permissible value, then change the t1 value, select another t1 value, substitute here, get the induced stress and verify with the permissible value. If it is less than permissible value, write the comment the design is safe. Okay, so this is the derivation for the calculating the dimensions of the knuckle joint. So see here, what is the difference? First point, we are calculating the solid rod is going to subject into tension, d value we are calculating. In second point, about pin we are calculating. Pin is, if it is subject into shear, what is the d1? Otherwise, if it is subject into bending, what is d1 value? Okay, now from the third to 8 point, if you observe one thing, if you observe one thing here, the single A or rod end in tension, rod end in shear, rod end in crushing, and fork end in tension, in shear, in crushing. The failure area is common, means d2 minus d1 into t. Here also d2 minus d1 into t1. For the crushing, this one d1 into t. For this one d1 into t1. The failure areas are common. Okay, so with this, our the design of joints topic is over. Any doubts regarding this, Babu? Shall we move to one problem? Yes, Babu. So here question is asking design a knuckle joint to transmit the power, to transmit the not power, to transmit at this amount of load. So first write the given data. Given data is load is given as 150 kilo newtons. Design stresses may be considered as 75 megapascal in tension, 60 megapascal in shear, 150 megapascal in crushing. Okay. Now first thing is, it is failure is happening in a tension. So failure is happening in a tension. Go through this equation. So in tension, so that reason I'm taking this equation. With this equation, D is determining. So PT is given as how much? PT is given as 150 kilonewtons, means 150 into 10 to the power of 3, and sigma T value is given in the question as 75 megapascal. Okay, substitute these values. Tell me the D value in mm. Make it fast. What is D? Make it fast, wow. What is D value? You people are taking so much time, Babu. Nothing is there. Maybe you are not listening the class. You just switch on in the class and going somewhere. What is D value? Roll number 9. Are you there? Roll number 48. Roll number 22. So nobody is there. 25, 73, 75.
Sir, D value 2546.
D value is 2546.
50, sir, 50, 50.4.
50.4 mm. Okay. Now after calculating D value, some proportions we have to calculate. What are those? Just here. Diameter of the knuckle pin D1 equal to D, that is 50, just we calculated. And the outside diameter of the eye, that is D2. Outside diameter of the eye is D2, that is the equation. Remember, D2 is 2D, that is 2 into 50.4. And diameter of the knuckle pin head D3, that is 1.5 into D. It means 1.5 into 50.4. Okay. Then thickness of the single eye rod T, 1.25 into D, that is 1.25 into 50.4. And T1, what is T1? Thickness of the 4K, that is 0.75 into D, that is 0.75 into 50.4. Now T2, T2 is thickness of the pinhead, 0.5 into D, 0.5 into 50.4. Now tell me the one by one. D2 value how much, D3 value how much, T value, T1 value, T2 value. Make it fast.
D2 100.92.
100.92.
D3 75.6.
T value
T value 63, sir.
T1 value
T1 37.8.
then T2 value
Doing
how much?
25.2.
So these are the dimensions. Now after calculating these dimensions, then again what is the second step? Failure of the knuckle pin in shear. Substitute the all values here. PS value is 150 into 10 to the power of 3. Okay, sigma s value how much is given in the question? Sigma s 60 megapascal. D1 value just now we calculated here. D1 as a 50.4. D1 as sorry. With this calculate the D1 value. Check with the this value. With this value. With this value. First get the D1 value by using the shear criteria.